Imagine you're in a massive sports bar, right? You're looking up at 16 huge 4K TVs, and they're all acting as one giant seamless window into a live championship game.
Yeah, and one single skipped frame, or like 1 millisecond of lag, and that entire immersive illusion is just completely shattered.
Exactly. So today we are taking you on a deep dive behind the screens to look at the hidden hardware that keeps that illusion alive. Specifically, we are unpacking a highly specialized piece of gear from HDTVSupply.
Right, the SmartAVI MXWALL-UHD-16x16-S video wall processor and matrix switch, which is quite a mouthful.
It is a mouthful, and it comes with a pretty heavy price tag to match. We're talking $10,499.30, and that's actually on sale from almost 15 grand.
Wow. Yeah, that's not cheap.
No, but to put it simply, I like to think of this heavy-duty box as sort of the ultimate air traffic controller for massive TV walls. It perfectly directs traffic for up to 16 different video inputs and 16 outputs, all simultaneously.
And, to understand why a digital air traffic controller commands a $10,000 price tag, you have to look past the basic idea of just plugging in video cables. You really have to look at the sheer data architecture required to pull this off.
Okay, so break that down for us. What are the raw specs we're looking at?
Well, the spec sheet lists an impressive 18 GBPs of amplifier bandwidth, and that isn't just, a big number to look good on the box.
Right.
It represents a massive digital highway designed specifically so that 16 concurrent 4K streams at 60 hertz don't cause a literal traffic jam in the system.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit because they also list HDCP 2.2 and HDMI 2.0 compliance. What does that actually mean for the person trying to run the display?
Oh, it's absolutely critical. HDCP 2.2 is essentially a strict digital handshake.
Like a security protocol.
Exactly. Without that specific silicon level clearance, modern high-end 4K sports broadcasts or encrypted movie streams will literally refuse to display on your screens due to anti-piracy lockouts.
Wait, really? You just get a blank wall.
Yeah, you just get a totally blank wall. It also handles 1080p without breaking a sweat, alongside 16 separate stereo audio and IR control interfaces.
I do have to push back here, though. I mean, modern computers are absolute beasts.
Yeah.
Why do we need a dedicated 24-pound, 100-watt metal box for this? Couldn't I just build a super powerful PC to route all this?
Well, unlike a general-purpose PC, which is constantly juggling, 100 different background tasks, this MX Wall is a complete hardware solution. It relies on dedicated silicon.
So it's essentially plug-and-play ready.
Right. It literally only does one thing: route and process AV signals at lightning speed. So you eliminate all the software overhead. There are no CPU bottlenecks, no buffering, and crucially...
No sudden OS updates popping up and ruining a live broadcast.
Yes, that's the nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
So it's zero latency hardware switching, and it pairs that with an integrated scaler on every single output. It can take a really messy mix of input resolutions and instantly map them flawlessly to pristine UHD.
Oh, wow. For anyone who has ever wrestled with AV setups, that is huge because it means you don't need to clutter your server rack with external EDA emulators just to manage mismatched displays.
Exactly. It does all that fundamental shaping internally.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Using their Windows GUI, you can arrange what they call unlimited layouts. It's kind of like playing with digital Lego blocks.
That's a great analogy. You can configure your 16 screens however you want.
Right, like snapping them into a 2x4 grid, or a long 1x8 ribbon across a wall, or just a solid 4x2 block, merging them into one massive canvas or splitting them up.
And since that integrated scaler ensures the image is pristine no matter how you stretch or divide those Lego blocks, the physical screens essentially disappear. You're just left with the visual data.
But wait, having 16 screens of perfectly scaled 4K Lego blocks is useless if, say, a floor manager is in a rush and can't easily switch the input when a major news event breaks.
Right, absolutely.
So with all this visual power, how do you actually command it on the fly? Who is pushing the buttons here?
Well, it's incredibly flexible. If you are standing right in front of the server rack, you can use the simple front panel tactile switches.
But most people aren't hanging out in the server closet during a game.
Exactly. So in most modern deployments, you're managing it remotely over your network using TCP/IP connections. Or if you're integrating this into a massive legacy AV control room, it still fully supports RS-232 serial connections.
So they've really covered every base. So what does this all mean for you listening? Powering a massive display wall isn't just about plugging in a bunch of HDMI cables.
No, not at all.
It requires a seamless, dedicated hardware powerhouse to perfectly scale and customize those 4K signals.
It really takes on an immense computational burden. It does all the complex math in the dark, so the final visual experience feels entirely frictionless for the viewer.
It really does. It makes you wonder, though. As we move toward 8K displays and increasingly modular wall-sized panels, will heavy-duty hardware boxes like this always be the gatekeepers of our visual experiences?
That is a great question.
Right. Or will the screens themselves eventually become the air traffic controllers, processing all that routing locally? Just something to think about the next time you walk into a massive sports bar or high-tech control room and see a dozen perfectly synced 4K screens. Look past the monitors and consider the invisible, heavy-duty processing brain working overtime in a closet somewhere to make that visual magic happen.